Hey, this is Fred from WP Shout with the next in this series of WP No Code build videos. So right now we're looking at these background images on the About page and then the demos page that I just cloned it from. And you can see that it's not that these are images and then they have like a blue overlay. The images themselves are blue, meaning that we can't really change them. And the blue doesn't really match this default blue of the theme. Kind of doesn't match. So, and you can sort of see that the image itself is a little bit blurry, not great on the quality side of things. So I'm wanting to change that for About and Demos, but then I'm looking at this image I did for the home page, and it's like we have this really kind of like glowy blue here, and then the blue here is kind of really washed out. So I'm wanting to figure out what I can do about all of that. So a little bit of edit image work going on. So I've got this new image manipulation program open, free Photoshop clone. And the first thing I want to do is see if we can get this homepage image to look better. And how I'm going to do that is I am going to see if desaturating it, which means moving it strictly to grayscale, is an improvement. And I think I'm going to change the brightness and the contrast a little bit just to make it pop slightly. And what I like to do is like make changes and then undo and then redo and see if I like the redo version better, and I think I do here. So I'm going to save as a PNG. Okay. And let's just sort of see how it comes out looking. So I'm going to edit this, media library, upload files, and then it's in downloads. All right. And you can see it's the PNG version of it, even though it's grayscale, is a megabyte, which I may want to come through later and do some compression on this, some image compression. Because you don't want 1 megabyte files just sort of sitting around. Now we're not going to use the 1 megabyte version. We're going to use the large version of this image, not the full size version. So we're going to choose this, and instead of full size, we want large. And I just want to see right off the bat if, using the grayscale version does anything to help with the color side. And now I can't remember what it used to look like. So I'm going to just get rid of my changes in another tab and tab back and forth and see if there's any difference. Yeah, this is a little lighter, just a little bit, which is because I changed the contrast, I guess. I guess what I'm wondering really is, can we get away with like having a more intense color background without like completely washing the image out like 100%? And we would do that by changing this number. So can we get away with that, or is the hand too hard to even see? Because that is definitely got more color to it than this. Okay, I'm going to try it. So actually, I'm just going to, before I publish, I'm just going to hide the Beaver Builder thing. Yeah, I mean, definitely the image is less clear, but I also think the color feels better. So I'm going to go with it. And just because I'm curious, I'm going to see if any of that improvement is due to me grayscaling the image or not. Because if it's not, then why bother? So we're just going to maybe choose this thing again. We don't want full size, we want large. So this is the image that we did have. Save those changes. Okay. And let's just, so wait, this is the new version that's grayscaled. This is the version that's not. Well, if there's a difference, it's very, very, very subtle. I still think I'm more comfortable having it grayscaled, just because we don't really want color. Like, we want this to be like kind of a monochrome thing. So having to fight with color is not what we want to be doing. So I am going to go ahead and, I think, bother to, you know what though? I'm feeling like maybe I shouldn't have made the image brighter. Maybe I should have made it darker, in fact, because brighter is going to tend to wash the image out more and more. Darker is going to make it easier to stand out against like a monochrome background, and it's going to let us get that opacity value even higher. So I'm taking a little bit too much time on this, but I'm going to actually, instead of upping the brightness, I'm going to decrease the brightness but still increase the contrast. Is that too much? I don't know. Let's try it. So I kind of want to save this as something. No, I'll just replace the old image, because there's no way I'm going to want the current grayscaled version of this image, because it seems to be too light. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete this image entirely, upload the new version of it. And here I'm starting to get a little nervous about running into basically caching problems. What that means is that we already have an image that WordPress knows about with the name nocodewordpress.png. I'm kind of worried that the SiteGround cache is going to serve me the old version of that image and not the new version. But it doesn't look like it's doing that, because it's taking forever to build out the image. Okay. Maybe it is doing that. Let's see. So we're going to do this. Hit save. And is this better? I mean, this is so subtle. Oh, you know what? I'm actually thinking it might not even be registering the change. Hold on. There, so you can tell it's loading in this time. So that's my dog. Sorry about the noise. Yeah, it's darker slightly. Whatever. I mean, this is such a subtle difference. I'm probably taking too much time on this. All right. So what I'm going to do is I am going to see if I can up the opacity now that I've got it slightly darker. And if I can, then we can get closer to that the blue that is actually this theme color. So can we get away with like 95? Or is that too hard to see? I think it's too hard to see. 92, 93. Yeah, let's see. I mean, obviously, people don't really need to be seeing hands in a laptop, but they need to know what the image actually is. Honestly, this looks pretty good to me. It's like, I think it's clear what the image is. Let me just turn the brightness all the way up on my laptop. I think it's clear what the image is. And there's some nice luminosity on the actual color. So I'm happy. Good. Okay, so we're going to grayscale and darken all of our images. And so we need to find some images for the about and the demos pages. And now we come to like, there are a lot of very boring images of laptops. In fact, I would say all images of laptops are boring. There's not really anything I can do about that, because I mean, this is a thing about learning how to build websites. So it's like hard to justify like a picture of a snowy field or something like that. So I just found this thing. I thought, well, it's about us, and like, this seems to be kind of a decent background image for an about page. I don't know why. And then, let me try to close these. Whatever, we can leave them open. And then I found like a guy drinking coffee for demos. I mean, we'll see how it comes out looking. I really don't know if it's going to work or not. And on one hand, this stuff is not important at all, but on another hand, you kind of want you don't want your brand to look like totally silly, like it's just a bunch of like crappy stock photography, but you don't want it to, be too random either. Like you don't want it to be jarring to people, or like make it seem like you just did it for no reason. Like, hey, this is a picture of me on a ski lift. Like you don't want that. The whole thing has to actually make sense to people, or they kind of won't take you as seriously as you'd like, in my experience. All right, so let's go ahead and desaturate this thing. And let's darken it and give it some contrast. Yeah. Let's see how that goes. So about WP no code. We're going to save it as a PNG. These PNG files are larger than JPEG files, and again, I might want to come back in at some point and do something about all that, because we don't want large images, really large images as these backgrounds. Like, it's not worth another 500 kilobytes, like, and slowing the site down and all that kind of stuff. It's not worth it if we're just getting like a picture of a laptop and a coffee cup. But the full size image here is 500 kilobytes, and we're not going to use the full size version. We're going to use the large version. So I'm a bit curious what the actual file size of that is. And the way to find that out, I will show you in a minute. But first I want to see, all right, we've got this, and the overlay color is really weak. And what did I set it to? So let me explain what's actually going on here. Red, green, blue, and then A is like alpha or something, but it basically means degree of opacity from 0 to 1. So this is out of 255, this is 7 red, 61 green, 190 blue, and it's currently 0.9 opacity and 10% transparent. But I thought we set it to like 92 and felt like we could get away with it, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to actually add that to our color preset so that we don't have to be constantly copying and pasting that value. But I did copy it as well, so I'm going to paste it in here. So this is a very dark, like this is a very opaque overlay of this theme, this blue that is kind of like, our theme color. And my goal is for this to like blend with this as much as possible. Obviously it can't be all the way because we still have to be able to see the image under it, but it's close. Let's see. See what we can get away with. Okay, we'll just do 99 just to screw around. And then we hide this, and you can just see the faintest outline of like what might be a laptop or something. And you can just see the faintest like little blip here where there's a line. But this actually doesn't look as good as I thought. I mean, aside from the fact that you can't see the image, it doesn't look as good as I thought it would, because this is like swimming in a sea of nothing, kind of. So maybe 92 is the right number. It's clearly using, theme colors, but it doesn't like make everything just swim in a big ocean of blue, of the same blue. Maybe it does look good. No, I don't think it does. I think it's awkward to have like this blue ocean kind of a wrap this shape like this. So we're going to change this back to 92 and we're going to try to live with it. And again, you know, none of this stuff is, people are not going to be staring at this stuff. It's like the overall design sense that the site gives them, you know, will make an impression, but they're not going to be staring at like, you know, this picture of a laptop and headphones or anything like that. I don't really love this. I don't love how it's like image and then it just cuts off and the blues are almost the same but not quite. It bothers me. Okay, I already looked at this for like, I want to say like 10 minutes in the previous video, but I'm just gonna play with what would it be like to put a top margin on this thing. You know, I feel like it's not awful. And then of course the demos page is like identical. So this is the about page. This is the demos page. So this I think is definitely worse. Like what we had I think is probably worse. Actually they're both bad in different ways. Let's see. Oh, since I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna just add some bottom padding on this white row. We don't want it to bump up. We don't want that, you know, bottom button to like run up against the end of the row. We want that space there. So that looks better. I'm assuming this row would look really stupid with a white background. Unless we made this blue and white text. Okay, I'm going to try this for about 2 minutes and then I'm going to drop it. So what if we said that this whole row has a white background, actually? And instead of a top margin, which is going to give us this blue thing, and a bottom margin, it's going to have a top padding and bottom padding. So we go about, and then boom, we're on white. But then we would need to be able to get this column to be on blue, I think. Maybe not, actually. But let's just see if we can. Okay. So if we publish this, well, obviously the black text looks horrible. So let's just see. And this, of course, needs to be orange. And then this whole thing needs to be white. About, and a white space. Orange head. About WP no code. And then the contact us thing is blue. And then the FAQ is white. You know, I kind of like this. Let me look at demos again. Yeah, I think I kind of like this. And you know what I like about this? It kind of sets a precedent that like most of the content is going to be on a white background. I mean, it's a lot less out there to be having mostly black text on a white background than having mostly white text on a blue background. It's a lot less out there. So like setting that precedent on the about page feels good actually. So that means we got to change some stuff. This row goes on a blue background. It's a color, and the color is blue. This thing turns white. Is white a color preset? I'm using it so much. Okay, good. Then this row goes... Come on. Where am I missing? Text color, border. Oh, here we go. Background color. Background color is in fact white. This text color is in fact the default. And before I publish, I'm just gonna, oh, and then, obviously we'll just get rid of this thing entirely. Oop. So rows will sort of play with you sometimes where you can't really select them properly, but there we got it. So blue, white, and then we've got a white footer. Whoops, I must not have, maybe I didn't save this change. I'm also not sure what's going on here. So what am I, oh, sorry, I selected the wrong thing. That's, okay. Need to make this white. Wait, now I'm confused. Blue, white, blue. So the background color changed. Yeah, every time, I've run into this so many times in this demo. It's like I'll make a change, but I guess I'll forget to save it. Oh, and then you can see this doesn't look good, right? It's running up into this blue thing. When you see that, you need to switch between margins and padding. Okay. So I am going to okay, so this text disappeared entirely. Whoops. So let's just fix that. It needs to be orange instead of blue. Get in touch. To me, this feels pretty clean. The only thing I'm uncomfortable with is the white footer. Like, I just sort of like to alternate colors. Doesn't have to, but like this ends on blue. Doesn't really matter, maybe. Blue, white, and then a white footer. Okay, whatever. Of course, this line looks a little weird. But yeah, honestly, I think I like this. Now let me just compare it to like what we had. So it's weird blue, white, blue. This feels good. I think we can, I think we can use this as a template. And again, I think it's setting a precedent that like our pages are mostly black text on a white background, which is just going to make our lives so much easier in the long run than if we were defaulting to white text on a blue background. So that means that we are once again going to be trashing the demos page because it is a lot easier to clone the about page, quick edit it, rename it demos, and set it to be published than to mess around with remaking all the changes I just made. The only issue with that is I forget exactly how I had titled the page, and I remember it being something I kind of liked. So maybe that was a little hasty. Gonna have to go into the trash. Gonna have to restore this page. Now we're gonna have two pages named demos. Which one is which? This one was published 3 hours ago. So let's go ahead and view it. And you can see that WordPress is nice this way. It put it at demos too. Okay, see how it's done, no code demos. All right, see how it's done. See how it's done. This is supposed to say no code demos. It's supposed to publish. And then that was pretty much all we did on this page, if I'm not mistaken. So we're free to just trash it. All right. So I think the demos page, is this too much space at the top? I mean, this is the spacing that the theme itself came with. And if it's not clear to you by now, like I tend to trust the theme, the people who kind of put together this theme demo, like as designers. Like I'm not trying to like impose my will on the entirety of this site design, because I don't consider myself like a web designer. And the person who did this, I think, probably does consider themselves like that. I'm a little weirded out. The spacing's not right. And I don't understand why that is. So I'll at least fix that, and then we'll see if that's good enough. So what is going on? Why are you badly spaced? Ew. So that is technically code, and I'm going to pretend we don't know what to do. So I'm just going to retype that and see if it got rid of the gross code. And it did. That's making me paranoid that there's a bunch of code in all the other ones. But it must have just been that one. I must have pasted in or something. So that's the kind of thing you get when you paste from one place to another in a way that isn't like a plain text paste or something like that. You can drag all kinds of code, in this case what's called markup. You can drag all kinds of code with you, and it has side effects. So if you notice things off slightly, a lot of the time it's something like that. This is a very vague thing to say, but something you did had a side effect. And in this case, I must have pasted this in from somewhere else, and it dragged all this code with it. And again, I don't have to know how code works. I just have to know that I don't want code. I just want text here. And retyping it fixed the problem. And yeah, I guess I was kind of weirded out by the way it looked. And now that that's fixed and the spacing is fixed, I actually like it. So that solves that. All right. So now the actual demos, right? What do we want? I think I am going to go ahead and do it the right way and the slightly hard way. Again, we can do this without code. What I'm going to do is I'm going to install a plugin called CPT UI. I'm actually, you know what? Custom post type UI, this is the plugin I'm talking about. This is one, and there's a plugin called Pods, and I want to see which one's more popular. Because I've used both. I like them both. Pods is good. It's got 5 stars. CPT UI is pretty good. Yeah, I'm going to go with CPT UI. And if it does everything I remember, then I'm going to use it. If not, I'm going to install Pods and use that. So, I don't think it does everything that I thought it did, actually. It only does custom post types and custom taxonomies, and you may not know what either of those things are. I'm going to show you what custom post types are in a minute. But I think Pods does all that and more. I think it does what's called user meta, which is the ability to add information to specific users. Let's just see. Oh, these are whatever. Post types, taxonomies, or custom settings pages. Media, yeah. So Pods, I think Pods does more, actually. than CPT UI. If it's not clear what I'm doing, basically I want every demo to be a demo, like instead of posts and pages and I have to make each one of my demos a page or something like that, I want every demo to be a demo. And to do that, especially without using code, we're going to need a plugin. And there's two good plugins for creating new custom post types. One is, there might be many, but the ones I'm familiar with are Pods and CPTUI. And I've used both. I couldn't remember which one was most full featured, and I think it's Pods. So we're going to create a custom post type. The singular label is demo, plural label is demos. And that did it. You can see it right here. And public, yep. An archive page. Do we want that? No, I'm going to say we're not going to want an archive page of all demos. Is it hierarchical? Yes. In other words, do we want parent demos and child demos? Yes, I think we do. Now, I want revisions. I want to be able to track revisions, meaning, the changes I've made to this page, you can see it in a number of revisions, and I can go back to any of those revisions anytime I want. I definitely want that for my new demos post type. Do we want comments? Yes. Definitely don't want post formats. I would say definitely do want a featured image. Sure, we can have an author. Yeah. Page attributes. I don't really know what page attributes is. I'm kind of forgetting what that is. I'm going to say yes on custom field support too. Now, do we want to use any of these existing taxonomies? In WordPress, a taxonomy is a way of organizing things. So we've got our categories, which come from the blog section. You know what? Yes, I think I want it to have the same categories and tags that the blog section has. And I'm going to say save. So you can see when I add a new demo, you can see it's already got the news category as an option. And if I add a new category, then the blog section will get an option for that category as well. Okay. Right. So I want support for custom fields, but I don't want to show this box, this kind of awkward box. So I am just going to hide that in screen options. And we've got excerpt. I do want that, but again, I don't want to be looking at it. And again, I don't want to be looking at this. Nice. Okay, so how I built WP no code. And if you don't know what to say, there's a thing called Lorem Ipsum, which is just sample text. And you can get some at lipsum.com/feed/html. I'm gonna grab a couple paragraphs here because I'm not so worried about what this says just yet. Although I do want to set a featured image on it. I kind of think the featured image should sort of be the WP no code homepage. And there's a nice way to do that, which is, this is a Chrome extension, full page screen capture. Now, is there a way to, I actually bought the full version. It was like $2 or something. So, can I actually crop it? That's what I'm wondering. Okay, whatever. get me back to the image. Okay. Okay, here we go. Edit image. And you saw it was a premium only feature, and I think I have premium. So what do I want to do? I want to crop. Don't need this. And don't need anything below the hero image. Of course there's lots of ways to do this kind of image editing, but for screenshots, I think this is maybe slightly quicker. Done cropping. Yeah. I think this is a nice featured image. I think this will be good. So let's download this PNG. And we're going to say that the featured image is, we're going to rename this WP No Code homepage. All right. So let's see how this actually comes out looking. So, you know what? This looks good to me. It's using this single.php template, and obviously I can't explain to you the PHP that is making it work, but if you look at the WordPress template hierarchy, there's a site that actually we manage called wphierarchy.com. Basically, the WordPress template hierarchy says what WordPress template file shows what stuff. Without getting too deep into it, what we're seeing with our custom post type is that where it ends up is here. Because there's not something more specific like demo.php or single demo.php, then we're ending up on single.php, which is the exact same template that's used to display blog articles. And this this template looks good. It looks a little bit recursive, unfortunately, with this going on. I'm going to live with it. Maybe I should change it. But whatever, I'm going to leave it for now. I think it's kind of funny, actually. And so what that lets us do, now do I want a date and all that kind of stuff? Because I'm pretty sure a single actual blog post would have like a date and a category and stuff. But I guess that's not the case here because we would have to actually change the single.php template to have that. So if we wanted to actually display, like, let's say we wanted to tag it, right? Like video. Let's say we wanted to tag it. Then we can tag it with video, but I don't think the tag is actually going to show. Whereas if I tag, if I actually go to the article, you can see it's using single.php. If I tag it, you can see that video is an option, but let's say let's tag it WP Shout. If I tag this article, even the tag doesn't show up. That's crazy. I wonder why not. I guess it's a theme option thing. So we're going to go to blog, single post. It's not showing tags. And I'm going to say here, I want it to be, and why are we not showing the publish date? I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. Uh-oh, that's my dog. Sorry about the noise. Okay, I'm going to have to cut it here.